Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. First and foremost, before I get into my lesson, I want to start off by giving all praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone that teach and that rule well today. And citation also to the fellow laborers that's in the ministry and the believers that are scattered worldwide in all truth and sincerity, day in and day out. Once again, I'm the brother Shaquat Gabar, coming at you with another quick lesson. And right before I get into this lesson, this message or these videos goes out to you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which we are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites, according to the Bible. And also to the Israelite foreigners that are scattered amongst the heathen nations, and that may take on a physical appearance or look of another nation. But if your bloodline goes back to Negro, Latino, or Native American descent by the seed of your father, you are considered an Israelite as well. Shalom. So basically, I'm just going to get into a quick lesson, and the topic is going to be about the famine of the word. Okay, and when it comes to always going to the scriptures. Okay, when it comes to start with the men of Great Millstone. Okay, start with the apostles, bishops, and elders, and the brethren on down. Okay, that's involved in the ministry. Okay, and we know the concept of the famine of the word. Okay, when it comes to, in particular, Amos 8 and 11. Okay, when it comes to, there's going to come a time, okay, that the Lord is going to remove his men off the highways and byways. Okay, when it comes to the street ministry, and also when it comes to the access of the internet, having his word access by the way of the internet, mainly by the platform YouTube, where brothers, daily, okay, uploading videos, and then when it comes to the scriptures, man, okay, and mainly giving that forewarning to you so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans, because we're at the point about to come into the time of Jacob's trouble, Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7, okay, and the Lord ain't going to have his men available during that time, okay, when all hell break loose, okay, but for right now, okay, the Lord have his men, okay, as we out there constantly giving that warning once again, okay, and we're approaching the time of civil unrest, okay, leading to a financial crash, okay, which is going to lead to civil unrest, okay, the coming of martial law, the coming of uproars of the people, okay, detention centers, okay, physical famine, the lack of food, okay, the lack of resources, okay, the Third World War, okay, giving warning about that, okay, giving warning about these elites when it comes to Esau, Edom, the so-called white race, which they are our primary number one enemy, as they're ready to move in with the NWO, and they're going to introduce and implement a cashless society, okay, by the implementation of by the way of the prophecy of Revelation chapter 13, verse 16, which is known as the mark of the beast, okay, which is the RFID microchip, okay, that's going to be implemented, and that's going to be the next way of buying and selling, okay, when it comes to a cashless society, and the dollar being obsolete, okay, but before all that, the Lord have his men out here, okay, we out here or out there teaching constantly, man, week in and week out, and like I say, doing videos, okay, yeah, but our people, they see us out there, okay, but whether they taking heed, okay, they scoff, they scorn, they make mockery, okay, when it comes to the street ministry, and when it comes to videos, okay, they mock, the videos, leaving their comments, okay, on certain brothers' channels, or now to the point now you got individuals doing videos themselves, trying to debunk the Hebrew Israelites, okay, and that's very, very known lately when it comes to Elder Manat the Zatbok from the GMS South Carolina Murder Beach branch, okay, has lately been putting compilation of videos together where you got our people, okay, simple Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, okay, coming against this truth. And then of course these heathens, okay, especially these Christians, okay, they're coming against the Hebrew Israelites, okay, but there ain't gonna be no excuse not knowing about the word of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. And when all hell break loose and the Lord remove his men, okay, then they're gonna require, okay, then they're gonna want to seek Yahweh Shem Yahushua, okay, by the way of the prophets, because the Lord speak by the way of the prophets, man, okay. But let me start off with Amos chapter 8, verse 11. And it say, behold, the days come, said the Lord power, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that I will send a famine in the land, not the famine of bread, nor a thirst for water. Okay, and it is going to be a physical famine, okay, but it's going to the spiritual aspect, okay. And it says, not a famine of bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. Yeah, that's where we get the famine of the word. Okay, when the Lord removed his men off the highways and byways, and these videos not having access to it, okay, by the way of the internet, okay. Verse 12, and they shall wander from sea to sea, from north even to the east. They shall run to and fro to seek the word of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and shall not find it, okay. And that's going to be the time of the famine of the word, okay, because we know eventually, okay, when it comes to the will of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, okay, they're ready to come with, the government or the power that be, due to, this word going more and more viral every day, and exposure Esau, Edom, okay, when it comes to their nationality, their true biblical nationality, okay, when it comes to their agenda, okay, their NWO they want to try to establish, okay, they shameful history, okay, and all the wickedness that Esau, Edom uphold, okay, we know that eventually they're going to come with censorship, okay, misinformation, okay, war information, okay, it's another saying, infodemic, okay, I believe that's the word, okay, because due to the internet, a lot of exposure is coming out against Esau, Edom, okay, you got even their own tongue is falling upon them, okay, infighting within the government, okay, or former members that have been part of, these secret societies, okay, now they coming out exposing, okay, whistleblowers, okay, truthers, okay, it's a more, and mainly it's the prophets, okay, that's out there exposing Esau, Edom, and this word is what bringing this place down, man, okay, bringing the strongholds, okay, breaking down the strongholds, man, on Esau, Edom agenda and their lies, man, okay, and exposing their wickedness, okay, so it's going to come a point when the Lord going to remove this word off the internet, okay, due to legislations being passed by the government when it comes to the censorship, okay, to stop, this word on the internet, and also, attacking, accusing, okay, they call us, extremists, hate group, okay, radicals, okay, so now it's all about, hey, we got to come against those black Hebrew Israelites, okay, to the point that they want to, eventually you're going to have certain men, okay, that's involved in the ministry, okay, it's going to be locked up for the word, okay, being thrown in prison, okay, for treasoning, whatever they trying to bring charges on the prophets, but we know that's part of the persecution, okay, and you're going to have certain men that's going to be martyrs, okay, and believers be martyrs for the faith, okay, so we coming in these times, okay, but in the meantime, while the Lord have his prophets out there, majority of our people, like I said, they scoff, they scorn, make mockery, okay, but when the Lord remove his men, yeah, that's it, okay, because the Lord speak by the way of his men. Matter of fact, let me get on Hosea chapter 12, verse 10. And it says, I have also spoken by the prophets. I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. So that's how Yahweh shall speak, okay, to you Negro, Latinos, and Native Americans, okay, by the way of the prophets out there on the highways and byways, okay, as we out there teaching, okay, preaching, and these videos going up, okay. That's how the Lord speak. Let me get this and it's always been like that, okay. Hebrews 1:1. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, who at sundry times and diverse manners spake in the time past unto the fathers by the prophets, okay. So it's always been like that, even the ancient times, okay. And the prophets are back here today, okay, what the scriptures call what on reincarnation, okay. You know, so but the point is the Lord had raised up the prophets once again, okay, to give that forewarning, okay, sun dry times, meaning before, okay, because the word prophecy means to say before. So right before the Lord brings judgment, the Lord always have it announced, okay, or pre-announced, okay, before great judgment take place by the way of the prophets, man, okay. So that's it on that. But they, the scripture say they abused the prophets. They misused the prophets, I say. That's 2 Chronicles chapter 36, verse 15. And it said, in the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai, power of their fathers, sent to them by his messengers, raising up B times, okay, before. Okay, once again, the word prophecy means to say before. Okay, and the Lord raising up the prophets, his messengers, okay, raising up B times and sending because he had compassion on his people and on his dwelling place. Okay, and that's going to you Negro, Latino, Native Americans, you Israelites. Okay, we're telling you that when it comes to the Lord wrath, okay, salvation, to be exempt from it, okay, salvation is only for Israel, and at this time the elect, which we're considered the 144,000 and the 1/3 that's destined to be saved. That's going to take heed and come back and acknowledge Yahweh Bashem Shai words by the way of the prophets, okay. But the 2/3, according to Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8, they're going to be judged, and it's simply for them not taking heed to the words of Yahweh Bashem Shai by the way of the prophets, okay. So they're going to be marked for judgment, okay. Verse 16, but they marked the messages of Yahweh Bashem Shai and despised his words and misused his prophets until the wrath of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Shai rose against his people till there was no remedy, okay. So once again, okay, 2/3 of our people going to be judged, okay. And but the elect is going to take heed and be delivered, okay. So that's it on that. And so they misusing the prophets, okay. But when the Lord remove his men, and like I say, that's going to be it, man. Let's get what Ezekiel. This is Ezekiel chapter 3, verse 24. Then the Spirit entered into me and set me upon my feet, and I spake with me. And he said unto me, go shut thyself within thy house. Okay, this is another way of the Lord bringing the famine of the word, shutting the mouth of the prophets. Okay, especially when all hell break loose. Okay, when the Lord remove his men off the highways and byways, and once again, okay, not having access to this word on the internet due to censorship. Okay, and regulating the internet. Okay, verse 25. But thou, O son of man, behold, they shall put bands upon thee and shall bind thee with them. Yeah, so when it comes to that point, the Lord gonna remove his prophets, and then our people gonna want to seek. Okay, but prior to that, they scoff, they scorn, and make mockery. Okay, until when the Lord remove his men, then they're gonna want to seek Yahweh Bashem Shai on word. And it says, and shall bind thee with them, and thou shalt not go out among them. Okay, and I will make thy tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, and that thou shalt be dumb, and shall not be to them a reprover, for they are a rebellious house. And so once again, okay, the Lord is saying that he's going to make the prophets tongue cleave to the roof of thy mouth, going to this word, okay, or the famine of the word, or the Lord removing his prophets off the highways and byways, okay, not able to speak this word, okay, to the masses, okay. Like I say, once the Lord, the next step, okay, when the elect, okay, come to the point of more and more seal, okay, and the Lord move his men, okay, then our people gonna seek the Lord when it comes to the 2/3, man. Okay, and the Lord said we ain't gonna be no more reproving. Okay, and it says, for they are a rebellious house, but when I speak with thee, I will open thy mouth, and thou shalt say unto them, this is the Lord power, Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai. He that hear, let him hear, and he that forbear, let him forbear, for they are a rebellious house. So it ain't gonna, no, Lord, it doesn't gonna matter. Okay, and the ones that hear is gonna be the elect that take heed, and the ones that do hear, but they forbear, okay, and eventually the Lord gonna bring judgment upon them. Okay. So that's it on that. Let me see. And so this is the time now, okay, to seek the Lord. Okay. Because Lord, got his prophets out there now. Matter of fact, let me get that. What that's Isaiah chapter 30, verse 20. And though the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, okay, because this we also out there telling our people, hey, this place America is our captivity. Okay, this place is our punishment. Okay, we go into the curses, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verses 16 through 68, and give our people that warning, or tell our people, that we're the Israelites, okay, and that we're in captivity due to our disobedience, okay, our rebellious, okay, serving these false gods, idol worship, going after hedonistic customs, okay, to the point that the Lord have us here today in captivity here in America, okay, as we're being ruled by our oppressors, okay, mainly Esau, Edom, okay, but our people don't want to take heed, okay, they don't want to acknowledge that, okay, our people still believe that, hey, we're free, okay, the curses doesn't exist, Esau, Edom is not the so-called white race, okay, or the white race is not the Edomites, okay, as they, the so-called, they still think who the world calls God and Christ are so-called white, okay, still believing in Christianity, Islam, Roman Catholicism, Egyptology, okay, hell now, Baphomet, Voodoo, okay, atheism, okay. If we tell our people, if you got to repent, okay, to come back and acknowledge your true power and your true inheritance, okay, Yahweh Bashem Shai, and knowing that you're an Israelite, okay, and preparing yourself for the great day of the Lord that's gonna the wrath that's gonna come upon this place, America, okay, and eventually, we give that warning, okay, about this place soon, America gonna be destroyed at the peak of the Third World War by the way of thermonuclear fire, okay, and also during the time of Yahweh Shai and Mashiach, second coming, by the way of the chariots, what the world called UFOs, okay, and Yahweh Shai is coming back to bring war and fire himself, but only going to deliver the elect, okay, by the way of the chariots, okay, salvation is going to only be for the elect, okay, Matthew chapter 24, verses 29 through 31, okay, but our people don't, they're not going to take heed to that, okay, because once again, eventually the word of the Lord is only going to be for the elect, and the ones of our people, that non-believers, they're going to be marked for judgment, okay, but the point is that the Lord have his men out there, okay, giving that warning, and it says, although the Lord give you the bread of adversity and the water of affliction, yet shall not thy teachers be removed in the corner anymore, but thy eyes shall see thy teacher, okay, and that's going to the Lord have his men out there on the highways and byways, and his word being pushed on the internet, man, okay, and it says, and thy ears shall hear the word behind thee, saying, this is the way, walk ye in it, and when you turn to the right, or when you turn to the left, okay, going to this is the way, the true way to salvation is by the way of Yahweh Shema Shah setting up the street ministry, and this word being published by the way of the internet, man. Okay, but like I said, majority of our people they ain't want to take heed, man. Okay, and we don't experience that. Okay, more than anything throughout this ministry and the time that I've been in. Okay, and we experience more people that come against the truth. Okay, then instead of acknowledging it. Okay, but that's how the Lord, set it up. Because His word is only for the few. Okay, the few, and that's the elect. Okay, for the masses of Israel, the 2/3. Okay, they're gonna hear this word, but they're gonna forbear, not take heed. Okay, they're gonna scoff, they're gonna scorn. Okay, make mockery. Okay, yeah, but eventually the Lord gonna bring that judgment upon them. So that's it on that. Let me get this. So this the time now. I get this and I'll get ready to close. This is Isaiah chapter 55, verse 6. And it says, Isaiah chapter 55, verse 6, Seek ye the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai, while he may be found. Call ye upon him while he is near. Okay? And how we know that the Lord is near? Once again, by the way of the Lord, send up the street ministry, the prophets, out there on the highways and byways, man. Okay, they're constantly giving their warning. Okay, the true prophets. Okay, because you got false prophets, okay, amongst Israel as well. Okay, they're misleading their congregation. Okay, but the true prophets, okay, that's out there. But the whole point is, okay, this word is not going out vain. Okay, Yahweh Shema Shai had this word being pushed, man, by the way of, like I said, his men. Okay, the true men. Okay, but even these false prophets amongst Israel, okay, they might teach certain parts of the doctrine. They miss, teaching false doctrines amongst, when it comes to their false ministry. Okay, but to the most part, they teach Israel. Okay, they teach the so-called Negro, Latino, Native Americans that they Israelites, man. Okay, yeah, so ain't gonna be no excuse, man. That's it on that. Let me get this and I'll get ready to close. Ezekiel chapter 2, verse 5. And they, whether they will hear or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there have been a prophet among them. Okay, so they're gonna know. Okay, especially when all hell break loose and the Lord remove his men off the highways and byways, and this word not having access to it on the internet. Okay, and when things get more and more crucial, okay, in the time of approaching Jacob's trouble and in the midst of Jacob's trouble, okay, then our people gonna seek for Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, by the way of trying to seek the Lord's men. Okay, but it's gonna be too late. Okay, but then it should have been known a prophet had been among them. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and end the lesson here, and I pray that the lesson will edify. Till next time, Lord willing. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Shalom.